Were you riding your bike?
I was riding my bike, so
Sweet.
yeah, I got some good tan lines.
What?
Yeah, I did this thing. Rather than just like talk about bikes, I like went out and rode my bike.
I rode my bike Saturday, and it was 2 hours of it was in the rain, like
Yikes!
full on downpour.
Mountain biking or what were you doing?
We did a gravel ride up here in local trails, and 20 people showed up for
Whoa.
a rainy gravel ride
It's pretty cool.
in
Sounds
the
like Iowa
mountains.
City.
Yeah,
They must not have anything better to do with their lives, huh?
I think we're just tired of the rain. We want to get on our bikes, and we're just going to do it whether it's raining or not.
Dude, it's rained so much in the east this spring. Like May was the rainiest month in Tennessee's like history, I think, or Chattanooga's history. It was crazy.
What?
Yeah, it's been nonstop.
That's that's interesting. Yeah. We have rain right now. It's raining over here.
Oh, we'll be getting it this weekend then.
Yeah, exactly.
Graham, your microphone's too low.
Too low.
Yeah. Bump up that gain.
Okay, how's that? A little bit better.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. How's that?
Keep going.
That's as high as it goes.
Okay. We'll have to do that.
All right. I'll try
Yeah.
to stay close.
Man, we did M&G yesterday. It was beautiful. Now it's like pouring rain.
Yeah.
I don't know
So-
about all that.
I guess elephant in the room. Cam Jones
Right?
wins Unbound gravel.
I'm telling you.
Like 8.5 hours.
So, and I'm kind of confused. Like, what's going on? Like, all these guys, obviously, there were crashes and stuff, but you know that any of those top 25 guys, any one of those guys can win that race on any given day. How is it that, when an attack like that of two guys shows up, it's like, oh, let's just kind of look at each other and see who's going to chase.
Yeah,
No.
I was kind of surprised there were no team tactics.
I
I really
was
thought that there would be more chasing. Like we're gonna put our domestiques on the front and we're gonna chase this thing back.
so I feel like that was kind of like a team tactic. Those two kind of got on the front together and
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're
had a
not
little
team.
discussion and said, "Let's do it."
They're not a team though. I mean,
They're
that's
not
what
a team, though, but
every
it's-
breakaway does that. But like,
Yeah,
if
you're right.
everybody's saying that like gravel cycling is gonna eventually move towards road cycling tactics, like this was
Well,
the race to do it.
And
like,
that's
it didn't.
what
it didn't
happened.
happen.
kind of.
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, like you had a breakaway go away, but like that breakaway was strong. Like Simon Pillow and Cam, what's his name, Mason?
Cam Jones?
Jones. Sorry, not Cam Mason. He's a British cyclist. Cam Jones, like they were strong, but if you have two domestiques from each team, like just saying like, okay, my finish line is 30 miles to go, I'm gonna empty myself to make sure I draw this breakaway back, like it would have come back. But it's just I don't think gravel cycling is there yet, and so then you have a bunch of people looking out for number one because it is such a prestigious race, right? Like a top 10 at Unbound, like you can make your career off of that, at least gravel career.
Yeah. I'm kind of conflicted on the whole team strategy thing. I don't know. Because you have, especially on the US side of the equation, right? It's still a lot of privateers that enjoy that life of privateering. I don't know that you're going to get a lot of, like maybe you get the Keegans of the world that maybe they build a team around them, but the Keegan's what, 30 now? So, I mean, I don't know. It's very interesting to see how things are shaping up. Definitely that the Paul Nomar Studios, those guys are trying to do a pretty decent job of.
They're trying, but like even Panaracer, at least if I remember correctly, they wear the same kit, but I think they have different bike sponsors. Like
Yeah.
so like they're really not on the same team.
No.
My personal opinion is okay. Spirit of Gravel aside, like I think it's dead. But
They-
I would like a 200-mile race. They came in and they did commentary for 5 hours for which was it was good, but like there's nothing to talk about. What I mean? Like it's two guys up the road, and then on the women's side, it was three women up the road with a 10-minute gap. Like the race was kind of over. If you have teams involved, then there's drama because in a road race you would say, okay, well, like someone's got to chase. Like if you have a team of 7 people, you know that one of those people is who you're expecting to win. So you spin those other 6 people to chase it back, and so then you would at least over the course of an 8, 9, 10-hour race have at least some sort of strategy. Because right now it's just like, I mean, even Dylan Johnson says it. His tactic is to get into the group and just hold on as long as he can, not attack,
Yeah.
not do anything. I mean that's
Yeah. So I think obviously winning Unbound is a huge deal. But then you look at the rest of the lifetime Grand Prix races, So I'm looking at this on the money side of things, especially for US cycling, right? You've had like a lot of old school teams for road in the US, but the budgets are not there unless you become a county team. I just, at least for the US riders, I don't know that it's going to happen, to be honest. Because outside of the Grand Prix, you have BWR, and then you have a couple other smaller leagues, but the money, I think, is the problem, right? Is
yeah, but I think you're
well-
gonna have to have that. Like, I mean, it's amazing the fact that gravel has stood itself up out of nowhere with Lifetime and
Yeah.
BWR kind of as the big, maybe in Gravel Earth Series as the big sponsors behind it. But it stood itself up out of nowhere, and I think the only way that you get it, like we're fortunate enough to have a critical mass of people that are interested in this sport to the point where they had probably 10,000 viewers at one point of that Unbound stream. Like you can't
Yeah.
tell me that some of these companies wouldn't want to have, that kind of market share and viewership, like out there without having to think about going Conti and Pro and World Tour. Like, why does an American company care about like a World Tour race that happens over in Belgium?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
who
the
cares?
trajectory is, going up. I mean, gravel racing wasn't a thing like 10 years ago, and now it's like the big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the Red Bull stuff, I mean, I'm surprised Red Bull hasn't kind of gotten into it.
yeah, and
'Cause they did
again, for me, I'm looking at gravel racing in a way. So the problem is we have in the gravel racing aspect of it, you have amateurs that really make the event, and then you have the pros. So a lot of times, like as it gets more competitive, you get the pros like, oh hey, you get the amateurs are getting our way towards the finish, right? But then the rest, like Unbound, it can't go on without the amateurs, because a lot of that, the expos and everything else, is being paid for by the regular folks like you and I. So I think for it to really take over, it will have to be a pro-only league. I don't think they can keep developing pro gravel racing in conjunction with amateurs. It's just I don't know.
You don't think so? I mean, I think that's kind of the cool thing about gravel, though. I mean, it's the beautiful thing about cycling, even road cycling. You can watch the Tour de France, and while you can't ride it on the day that those riders ride it, you can go ride all of those climbs, all those descents, all those roads. Gravel is that one step closer, which is you can do it on the same day.
Yeah.
And I don't see any reason that there can't continue to be a growth on both ends of the sport, which is like, the participation, completion side of things, and then also, the pointy end of the race where we're trying to see who can go the fastest.
That's me. Really bad. No, so I ended up having like an issue with like Lifetime, when I was down there. And one of the Lifetime people told me that they want to control all the media rights to like the race. He said to Unbound. So I don't know, like he was telling me because we're having disagreement, about content creation and all this stuff. So as a media, you gotta pay to get the press pass. So that regular people like myself that have a YouTube channel, you get them boxed out because they're like, well, you can't do this, you can't do that, you gotta pay. So you have those things that are coming up with Lifetime. I do understand they're trying to make a business, but you also have all these regular folks, that come to ride this event. They just want to hang out with their friends, and it's about riding with the pros, to be honest. So they gotta have a balance, but I don't know how it goes, but it's going to be interesting,
Wait, so tell us more. Like, what was this argument that you had? What were they telling you that you couldn't do?
So you can't. One of the things came up is you can't fly your drone when they're doing their stuff. You're not allowed to do that. Now it's crazy because
you're on a
that
public
in
road
itself.
In the middle of nowhere. Do they own the airspace? They don't.
I
own
know,
the airspace.
that's right.
They don't own the roads.
Well, why would it? Are they looking at it like a safety thing? Like they don't want your drone flying into mine? But I mean, how many people fly drones together?
Dude, it's
that was the key, right? That's like you said there, Jason. What I said is, I'm like, are you worried about, my drone falling on people? So I have a really small, under 249 gram drone, and I know that you're not supposed to fly it over people, unless you have a special license. So I made sure that I wasn't flying over anybody. I was actually on private property, facing the start of the 350. Really, that's where it came up. And there was like maybe 6, maybe 7 other drones, and then the helicopter was, 500 feet up in the air or something like that. So the guy comes to me like, "Oh, I'm gonna take your drone." I'm like, "No, you're not."
Whoa.
He's like, "Well, you're getting in the way of the helicopter." I'm like, "Excuse me?" I am 15 feet off the ground, and I don't know if you guys have seen like my video that I put up. I was like, not more than 15 feet.
Yeah.
Wait, he said he was gonna take your drone. He didn't say like, "Hey, put it away" or something. Like, I'm gonna take your drone.
Yeah, I was like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "You better watch your fingers, man." So I'm like, who's the authority here? Because I want to talk to them and figure out what the real problem is here,
Yeah.
I could see not being a bonehead and flying at 400 feet. Really, the highest you can do is 400 feet anyway, without breaking the FAA rules. So you got to stick, so I kept it low. I didn't move. I just pointed towards the start. And meanwhile, you have like 6 other drones that are flying over people. I could tell you probably maybe 1 or 2 of those people maybe
Are those all Lifetime drones?
I don't think so. So I asked him, I'm like, "Do you think this is supposed to?" He's like, no, we don't care about the safety. We're worried. He's like, we want to control the media rights, like the aerial footage. I was like, what?
Dude,
I'm
you're
like,
in public. You're allowed to film whatever you want to.
Yeah.
You're in public.
So I'm like, I would have had a better case if you told me you're worried about my drone falling on people, which it wasn't anywhere close. But you telling me the only reason you hustling me is because you don't want me to have start footage of this race.
So they can put on crappy coverage anyways. Like it's still not even good footage.
So who was this person? Do you know who this person was?
He just had a Lifetime t-shirt on, working for Lifetime. And what was crazy, there were people that are friends of the channel, our channel, that were there. They were like, "What the hell?" Like they asked the guy, like, "What? Or like, what kind of rules are those?" You know, so I was like, no, man. So I went and talked to the cop, and the cop is like, hey, where were you flying the drone? I'm like, right over there. He's like, all right, no problem. So, and I told the Lifetime guy, I'm like, again, I don't want to come here and cause trouble, but I'm following the rules and I'm staying out of everybody's way. You telling me my, you know, less than half a pound drone is getting in the way of the helicopter that's 500 feet in the air, like behind the church. So it was crazy. But when he told me that they just want to control the media rights, I was like, oh, okay, all right.
You know what? It kind of sounds to me like some volunteer low in the total pole person with a Lifetime t-shirt decided that he was going to be give you a hard time, and he had no idea why. He just kind of made something up and kept
so as he's hustling me, there's like other drones like in the air that are flying over people, which that's, you know, I don't know if you guys remember Casey Neistat, you know, a big YouTuber, like back in the early days of drones, he had a huge drone that malfunctioned and fell on people in New York City, and some people got caught up, right? So the FAA is like, hey, you can't fly over people. Now, even then, if you have a special license, you can get a business license, which gives you a lot of those exemptions. And on the other note, also, even if, let's say, like here on game day, I can't fly my drone. Like if I try to take off, it'll tell me like the university will restrict the airspace on game day because, you know, they have jets coming through and stuff like that. Fine. But it will pop up and it will tell you, hey, you can't fly your drone. And then after the game, you're free to fly, right? But even then, there is exemptions that you can get if you're flying over a certain altitude, like in altitude, right? So I told the guy, I'm like, you know, I don't mind, but if you guys want to, you know, enforce these rules, you have to know the rules.
Yeah.
You just can't
know the law.
Blanket. Yeah. Like pretty much what it is. Just know the law.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
it was
sounds like. Go ahead.
Sounds like this dude just kind of felt like he had big pants on that day.
Yeah, no. So it was funny, but I was like, oh my god, yeah. Yeah, he was like,
I've heard that about Lifetime. I don't remember if it was like, I felt like it came out of like the Bong Pros podcast or like Dylan.
Yeah, vegan cyclists.
Or VC. Like someone like they tried to create some content, like co-create some content with Lifetime, and they like shut him out completely and even like came after him about using some of the footage. Or do you remember what that was, Aria?
Yeah, I think he used a portion of the video or something. I get it. I get it. Lifetime is a business. I get that part.
Yeah.
But you can't have this super public event and expect, like, fine, I'll go on the course and film, you know, on the course. Like, you can't stop me. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, what are they going to do? Pick up everybody's phone who has a picture of the Lifetime finish line, start line, whenever somebody was there? I mean, what?
Literally, while that guy was hustling me, that's what one of the ladies asked him. Like, so he's like, what about all the hundreds of cell phones that are here filming this stuff? And he had no say. So I was like,
that's because he had no idea what the hell he was doing. He thought he was going to like.
Yeah.
Did you get this on camera? Yeah. Did you get this interaction on camera?
No, but I told him,
dude, there's your $1 million YouTube right there. YouTube, Instagram right there.
And you know, I told the guy, I'm like, wait a minute, let me get my camera and let's record this interaction. And then he changed his tune. And again, I didn't want to cause trouble, you know what I mean? But I was like, dude, you just can't come to people like that.
You know what? You said you're not allowed to fly those drones above people. Every time I ride with you, you pull that drone out. It's right above my head as we're riding all the time.
Crowds of people. When you and I are out there in the countryside,
I feel like you said that group got cut up and feel like you're flying this drone right next to my head for a reason or something.
Well, individual parts they don't care. Yeah. So it was quite the instance. But anyway, you know. And I get it, their business, and I think they're trying to control every aspect of that. But then it's like, well, you have an expo that's open to the public, you know. The pros are really not buying stuff at the expo because, you know, they're sponsored. So it's just the Josh Moores like myself that are over there wandering around buying stuff. So,
dude, if they were smart, they would encourage people to come out and film this
Exactly.
and put it out there.
well, but I
Because
think that,
if you send it to 25 people who'd never seen it or heard it before,
yeah.
then that's 25 people that they might get.
And that's the thing. So while the guy was asking me, like this couple that watched the channel, they were like, "We came here to do this because we saw your videos."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm not trying to be a savior here, but it's like we all play a small part in developing the sport.
Finding fee.
Yeah, you almost wish that like they would do all their filming and then they would just like open source that.
Yeah.
Where every rider at that point at
Yeah.
some point could tell their own story. Like if you're
Yeah.
a content creator, then like you could cut through all their footage and say like, hey, I'm going to tell my story of Unbound, why it was important to me, and that could be everything from finishing in 20 hours or finishing in 12 hours. Like that blows my mind. Why would you give away free marketing? Like, are you trying to control the narrative? It's a giant bike ride. What narrative do you have to control? Like,
and I think that's where the craziness is coming in, because I think Lifetime is focusing on kind of like a Formula One, that series. They're trying to do that. And there's no place for the average man in that. Like, so if you notice that if you're pro, you can get the footage from Lifetime and use it in your videos. Yeah. But if you're average guy, one of the employees told me that you could buy the footage. I'm like, but if I'm there with my own camera, why should I buy your footage?
Yeah.
Like, I'll just turn my GoPro on,
I mean, I would imagine if they would just open it up, like it would break the YouTube algorithm. Like anything gravel, it would just go straight to some sort of like, piece of content that features Lifetime footage.
Yeah.
Like it would break it.
So it was quite the situation. So I was like, oh my goodness. So
well, enough about feelings and politics, laws and things like that, and regulations. What cool tech did you see down there? Like, tell me something cool that you saw.
I saw that you guys probably saw that the new fork that's exclusive to Canyon right now.
I've heard
yeah.
But it's made by a DT Swiss.
The DT Swiss, yeah.
That looks pretty good. It's actually the first gravel fork that looks the part. Like it looks like
it's heavy.
Yeah, it is heavy, but it actually looks like it would be part of that bike.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to take a little extra weight and get some comfort on those roads of Emporia.
Yeah.
So that was what stood out to me. Ketones. I tried ketones for the first time.
Which one did you try?
What's the company? Kinetic, something like that.
How'd it taste?
They're pretty delicious, actually. Really good.
Ketone IQ, and it tastes like gasoline.
No, this stuff was amazing. So
you must have had the cut stuff then.
So they had it mixed in like a drink.
Oh well, come on now.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it, it's like absinthe. Just do it,
Well, so they have it. So they had even other samples. You could buy a little flask that is tall that was just pure ketones, and even that tasted pretty good, actually.
I took ketones for one race and actually had a pretty good performance at it, but I want to start taking them just for like the mental acuity side of things. Like take them in the morning. Like I've heard good things about that. And then you're supposed to take them more for like recovery than you're supposed to be for like.
And you can slam them during the ride. You could slam it. You could slam them during the ride, and so I took one of those, like a small can of it, and it just I felt like I went back to RV and I was like zoned in. Like it kind of gives you a nice little focus. But I think it that was my only time I've tried it. But Dean, the one I posted in that story that was talking about you hating on the Strava. He watches the channel and he watches the podcast, and he's a big believer in the ketones. And he bought 2 flasks that he has some in his RV, and he said it was gonna like chug one like 40 milligrams or something, which I guess your body can only do like 24. Otherwise, you just end up peeing them out. Like if you ingest too many, the excess just go to waste, and it's expensive, you know.
Piss and excellence, literally.
So that was his rest strategy. He was doing the 100 and 50 miles in. He was gonna open one up and chug it and just keep going, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're riding the trainer that much, you need ketones to keep yourself mentally sane.
Yeah.
But I don't ride the trainer that much.
Hey,
The other thing I saw is Lightspeed now has clearance for like up to a 50 something. They couldn't confirm. They said you could do like a 55 on some of their bikes now.
Who'd you talk to? Do you remember?
So this was a funny story. So I don't know. Hopefully the guy doesn't watch and get mad at us. The CEO of the company was there. And I'm guessing, you know, like Unbound is, since it's such a big expo, like some of the CEOs want to come out and probably ride because you get an entry, and maybe so when we got there, the CEO was in the booth. And we're like, hey man, talk to us about this new design. Because so what they end up doing with the chainstay, they offset it. You know, kind of like how the Allied's doing on their,
Kind of like,
where it's kind of like instead of being even, it's kind of dropped so that you can fit, you know, bigger meats in there. And then we're asking him, and he's like, well, I kind of, you know, I don't know much about like the geometry of the bike, you know, and the dean that was with like, hey, you're the CEO of the company and you're in the booth, you should at least kind of brush up a little bit on a few things, you know. He did know other things about the bike, but he wasn't sure.
I think you got to cut him some slack though, because you know they lost their founder and CEO last year. He died on like unexpectedly, and so. And plus they've got Obed, they've got Lightspeed, they've got Kintaro.
Correct. I didn't realize we're all under the same blanket. So and I give him a slack. I think Dean was just giving me a hard time because
I'm gonna go over there and talk to him tomorrow. I'll set it straight for you. I'll be like this.
But we give him a slack. But and I understand as a CEO, you trust other people to then know bike building to do that, and you run the company. And they do what they do best.
It's like you run this podcast, Aria. You know, you just trust Jason and me to kind of come up with the good jabs and content. And
that's right. Someone's got to do it.
He just shows up late.
Yeah, shows up late. Good.
I know, man. I ended up realizing that I was up there editing the Gravel Locals video, and then look, I'm like, oh man, it's like 6:30 and none of my stuff is charged.
Oh, see, that's where I am too. There's a chance that my rig dies before we finish the full conversation.
You know, I saw a lot of people. I was curious as to how many people, I guess in the main Lifetime group, how many people were on SRAM and how many people were running Shimano. Like, what was the breakdown of that?
Oh man,
I felt like it was pretty, because the guy that won was on Shimano.
He was on a Shimano road group set.
Yeah, well, no,
211, dude. Like
they're running a big Durace front chainring, and crankset, and they're running GRX in the back.
Yeah, but the interesting thing about GRX is that it can only take, like, the small chainring has to be pretty small. There's like a specific ratio that it has to work with, so they're like cobbling together these like cranksets that are like Durace, so they get a big 52, but then some sort of altered, and it's like a mid compact crank or something like that.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah,
and then what's his name? Matt Beers. I don't know. I saw a reel. I don't know how true this is, but I was trying to kind of look at these bike pictures. He was riding a new Specialized bike.
Oh, the new Diverge.
But people were saying he was riding like the new Compi 13 speed.
Oh yeah, 2x13. With a thumb shifter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that he had mechanicals and stuff with the thing, and obviously. was fairly new and all.
I'm Unbound.
So I don't know if they're trolling him because he was doing the SRAM Type T transmission for like last season, no problems.
If I'm Matt Beers putting 500 watts through the bike for 8 hours on end, I want the most burly train that I could have. Like Campagnolas for like hopping on your cruiser and going to the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Like your name's Massimo and you're smoking a cigarette while you're doing it. Like not for Unbound.
Right. So I saw that like, oh man, that would explain why he didn't have a good race. If you tender, you need a mountain bike group set on that or something. But I noticed looks like a lot of the former pro roadies, especially the Euro guys, prefer the Shimano 2x system. Looks like.
Yeah, I think they're pretty set on that.
Until that mud shows up, and then you're gonna be,
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed. I don't know how you guys felt but I was looking forward to just some sort of chaos in the race, like when it came to the course conditions. And it had to have been one of the tamest years ever. No wind, hardly. Well, I guess there was a bit of a tailwind.
Oh, there was wind.
Yeah, there was tailwind. There was a big tailwind. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
But
the mud was obviously pretty severe.
Pretty tame. It was pretty tame for the most part.
Yeah.
Was it?
Nobody carrying their bikes, no paint sticks, nothing like that. One thing I thought that was interesting. Sorry, I know we get off the tech a little bit, but at least the chatter that I'm hearing out there a little bit is that a lot of the riders wish they had gone with smaller tires.
Yes.
Instead of going with the big dog Dylan Johnson Bible.
Yeah.
Or Race Kings, a lot of them are saying, and not for mud clearance or anything, but purely because they felt like the race was so much like a road race, and that there were those accelerations where they had to go quickly or sprint, and those tires took a while to spin up. And maybe big tires are dead.
No, they're not going anywhere.
I think it's all race specific.
Well, yeah, and if you go, in all honesty, I wrote the sections of the the North Route. If they're going south, you want big tires.
Yeah.
Because the south is way rougher than the North Route. So I could see why, a 42 Pathfinder would be perfect for the North Route and then not good for the South Route. You definitely gonna puncture. So I see it, but I think it's definitely, like you said, cost dependent. If the group is gonna stay together for the longest, and there's not a whole lot of separation, and you're riding through rough stuff, then you probably want the fat mitts for sure. So yeah, I think it's cost dependent. Fat mitts are not going anywhere, man.
You don't think so?
I felt bad I think Hannah didn't finish. I think she DNF'd.
Yeah, she had a bad sidewall slash. Apparently, she had a big crash, and then I saw her recap. But
I know. I was hoping to get her on here. Yeah, somebody took her out, man. Somebody shot tried to do a whole shot and took her out. I'm like, that has to be so disappointing after training and getting everything set up like that, and then.
Well,
you know what my feeling about Unbound is? I'm almost kind of annoyed with the race at this point, especially the pro race, because the more I think about it, and the more I watched as much of it as I could, and followed along, and it just feels like there's a dogfight for the first hour until the groups separate. And at that point, it felt like it used to be like a war of attrition, just keep riding because maybe something happens and you'll come back to the group. But this year, it felt like everybody just kind of was like, all right, I'm in 7th, or I'm in 11th, I'm in 20th. I know where my competitors are. I'm just gonna hold in this group and just ride it on in.
Yeah.
And back to the teams side of thing, there was no incentive for anyone to take a risk. They're thinking about the Grand Prix. They're thinking of it was just it was kind of boring, to be honest. I mean, I wish there was more to say about it, but there was nothing about the course that made it harrowing or interesting or super technical or race defining. And then the tactics were non-existent, and it was just a big, long time trial, for
pretty much for those
hours.
For those two guys that won, and even the women,
I mean, the women's was even worse, right?
Yeah.
Like Sophia, like I mean, she got dropped out and like was in that chase group, but she probably looked around and was like, "All right, these three girls aren't ever going to beat me in this Grand Prix overall,
Yeah,
so why would I chase them?"
yeah,
You know?
and yeah. Now I thought about that too. I was like a little disappointed. That's a problem, right? Like, and I've been thinking about this actually quite a bit. Is like the problem with the Lifetime series. You have these huge races where you have a race within a race, right? Unbound, as a race, and then you have the Grand Prix,
Mm-hmm.
and it just kind of feels half baked. Like I feel like the person that wins almost doesn't get the glory for really the full glory of winning it because they still get
There's this
recognition,
Grand Prix
but
feature.
something still gets taken away because you have a separate podium for the
Yeah.
Grand Prix. So
Yeah,
I don't know, but
when you finish 13th in the race and you're 5th in the Grand Prix, you're on the wide angle podium. Like that's a little weird. You know what I think would be cool? Like, okay, say the teams thing doesn't take off, like make the race more interesting with bonus sprints,
yeah,
right? Like
yes,
Yeah.
preems for people that aren't in the Grand Prix. Like, hey, here's a $2,000 preem if you're the first
Oh,
person across the line at 80 miles.
hill
Like
climbs.
hill climbs,
yeah,
like something like Grand Prix bonus points to say
yeah,
like
You know what I
here's 3
was
points, 2 points, 1 point for the first person that gets it. Like that would at least open the race up a little bit more.
you know what? See, I feel pretty good about the race and stuff, but I didn't watch the whole I just watched recaps and highlights and stuff. But would have been I think would have been cool is if they would have cut out and did some follow up on the XL riders.
yeah, yeah. That was quite interesting.
Yeah.
I thought Lucky had that in the bag, but Rob Reason came to play.
So Lawrence Ten Dam got like fourth or something or fifth.
Yeah.
He's
Do
like
we
a
know?
pro
He's like
Tour de
45.
France roadie guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's been pretty good. Like he was competitive in Unbound. Like I remember, I don't know, maybe it was last year, but like he is one of my favorite riders because
He's just out having a good time.
well, like he's exactly what I was talking about. So like this, if he had been in the race in the 200-mile race and those
He's
guys
chasing.
were up the road,
Yeah.
he
He's
would
chasing.
have chased because like
Yeah.
he's known for being like, you know what, screw this, I'm taking off and I'm just going up the road and I'll
Yeah.
solo time trial my way there. Like which isn't
Yep.
what you want to see
He's-
like for the
he's-
rider, but at least he's animating things.
He's
Yep.
done like off the front, like pulling the whole peloton at the Tour de France for like 200 miles a day or something.
And I feel like what's his name? Alexei Vermeulen's kind of that way, but I don't know what happened to him either. Because I feel like,
I don't either. I think
he likes to get in the front and just animate the race. That guy that won the race, that's how he races. He doesn't like to sit on.
yeah,
It's like, let's go. Let's go hard. May the best man win.
he was on another level. Like, I mean, that is just unbelievable power. I mean, he had to have put out probably. I wish I had seen his power file, but I would say between 350 and 400 watts for 8 hours straight.
I wanna see, like what his power was on that last hill, the Highland Hill, the last paved climb they do before they get there.
Where he attacked.
Man, he just
He slammed.
turned the jets on, and
Yeah.
the Tudor guy had nothing left in him.
But like, so Simon Pillow, like I don't know, you guys don't follow the World Tour as much as I do, but like he is not a sprinter. Like he is that is not his game by any means. So like, once they came in together, I honestly was surprised. He must have been just so gassed because like I was waiting for him to like at least roll one attack just to see what he could do, but there was nothing to be done. But,
No, it was quite interesting. And then in the women, what's the lady that won last year? She took a wrong turn, right in the finishing chute.
Yeah.
Oh, she did. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that blew up the sprint because the money was on her to win that. Yeah, like I think again that kind of goes back to Graham's point about like, maybe have some money for the sprint finishes. Because you had those 4 or 5 women that came in together, have a bonus there on top, because some of those ladies are not in the Grand Prix. Like let them take something home.
Or like, I mean, even give us some jerseys. Like, say there's a King of the Mountains jersey or a sprint jersey.
Yes.
Like, dude, it would be so cool. I think it would be super cool. So you take a race like Leadville, which like Keegan's gonna win. So like, but say there's a King of the Mountains jersey, which means you get points if you're the first person to the turnaround, or at the
Yeah.
top of each of the climbs. So then you have someone who's going to go out there, probably Tobin, and he's going to go out there and just drill it and try to get those points, and then who knows if he wins, but he's going to draw other people out
Yeah.
and make the race, like, maybe they blow up at that point. Like, I just think you could make it so much more interesting, because gravel is so boring. Like, Lifetime showed that, like, I think they're doing everything right, trying to have live streams, and people are clearly interested. Like I said, there's tens of thousands of people watching the stream, and the stream is bad, like, not because of the quality of the production, but because the content is just not good. Like, I mean, you need something to animate these races if you're going to draw people in, and, like we said, pull sponsors to say, like, this is worth my while to do this.
They should filter in some of the locals, some of the amateurs,
Yeah, I think I don't think they'll do that. I think, to me, it's a story, because I remember listening to their speech at Big Sugar last year, Lifetime's big speech.
Yeah.
They want to be known as the premier racing league, in the United States for off-road. So I think their mission is trying to make the pro racing gravel in the US, a thing. And then kind of like, I think they're trying to have an infrastructure like the Tour de France, where, there's all this marketing, everybody buys into it, all the sponsors, all the teams. I think that's what they're trying to do.
Well, that's fine. But, I mean, how do you they're building it all off of all the amateur people that are paying the 4,950 people that are shelling them $200 or $300 to do all this.
Yeah, man, like the 200 is $325.
Well, what's it going to do to put on an hour recap show where they kind of do the whole race in an hour? Throw 20 seconds to amateurs, just you don't have to show them right by, all these people are doing it too.
I think you could accomplish that even with what they're trying to do now, like with this whole Drive to Survive style documentary. Like, they've tried to, like, build these athlete profiles, but, like, for one, like, they're not very good at being, like, consistent or focused on who they want to talk about and let them tell their stories. But, like, if you would, so Keegan and Alexi are doing this cool down. Like, in my opinion, probably one of the coolest podcasts out there if you're into this niche little scene of gravel racing, because what they talk about are what every rider goes through, whether or not you're racing or participating. Like, they're talking about specific segments. They're talking about, mechanicals they had. They're talking about how their legs felt. Like, if Lifetime would focus on those kind of things, Jason, to your point, I think they could allow athletes that are in the participation side of the world connect and say, like, hey, like, I went through that. Like, I know what that felt like. It doesn't have to be them on the screen. Yeah. But you could totally, like, capitalize on this fact that you do have unique personalities in the athletes that you have, but you also have unique personalities that tie in with the thousands of general participants that are in this race and go through the same experience, and then you tie all that up in a bundle, and boom, man, you have this amazing marketing package that they are just throwing away.
And if you look, honestly, like, if you look at what Mid-South, Gravel Worlds, Gravel Locals, they focus on celebrating even those, because I think there was a guy that was at Unbound that was riding one of those arm-assisted bikes, right? I don't know if he was, like, paralyzed legs down and stuff, but it took him forever to finish. I didn't see any highlights. Mm-hmm. I think he did the 200. Yeah. I didn't see any. That guy should be, like, front and center of some of the promo material, because what he did was just unbelievable. Yeah. But that's why you're seeing a lot of these races focusing, Gravel Worlds, Gravel Locals, Mid-South. They try to tell the story of everybody, the pros, the regular folks, the people that are DFL. They're accounting for that. And some people just like that rings right for them, and they're like, "Well, I want to go check this gravel thing
Right.
out. I want to go to Lincoln, Nebraska, and see what's going on there."
Yeah,
Speak of which,
I like Lifetime makes me laugh a little bit just because like they're such a large company.
yeah,
I mean, like this little niche of gravel racing that they put on
I
is like
know.
just nothing compared to the
Oh, yeah,
the business that they do. But they act like such a small little like shoestring band of a company. Like I'll give you an example. They've touted themselves on the fact that after every race, within 24 hours, we're gonna have full highlights out there.
yeah.
So like that's all fine and good. They've done that. But then they bite off more than they can chew, and they put on this whole live production for Unbound. Has anybody seen the Lifetime highlights drop yet from Unbound? Are they
Do you
out?
No,
do you think
no.
they're even gonna do them? I was
So
thinking of.
so like it's like, dude, come on. Like
I
you're
honestly preferred their old stuff from the what was the old studio called Collaborative that was doing their
yeah,
videos from last
yeah.
season.
Yeah.
I enjoyed those videos way more. I feel like they were more in line with actually the first season they did a lot more interviewing of the athletes. It looked like they kind of focused on some athletes
Hmm.
Yeah.
and then they just kind of gave up on that.
I
Like
know. I know. They were like done with it. Like, yeah, then it was just like highlights and a couple little like ad lib things. But man, I mean, if you want people to have like a grassroots interest in this sport, like you need to have them generate, you know, like affection or relationships with these riders, both men and
yeah,
women. And it's like it blows my mind too because like Lifetime has it on a golden platter. They have a villain story in
yeah,
a new sporting series. They've already got a villain story.
Yeah.
Keegan and Sophia, the
yeah.
power couple. Like, why would you not like turn this into the most like just sink, oh okay,
Oh,
just
they,
sink your teeth into the drama of that,
yeah.
and yet they don't like.
So do you remember? And I could be speaking out of term. Do you remember in the first season, like Sophia was heavily interviewed, right? And I think they were having some conflict, or she was having some conflict with some other riders. When the lady that what was her name, the one Unbound 2 years ago, the Euro lady. Um, but then I think she felt like they were focusing on too much of the negative side of the things that she was saying to other writers when they're like, "Oh, Lifetime is not telling the whole story." There was a reason why I was angry at this writer and vice versa,
Dude, who cares?
right?
Like,
You know,
no press is bad press.
right? And I
Like,
think,
I like go out and be the villain, even if you're the nicest person in the world. Like,
yeah.
go out and be the villain. If that's the story, like, go just do that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get it, Aria. Like,
So I think the next year, last year, she really didn't do very many interviews. If you
no,
notice,
yeah,
you know,
probably because she complained about it. But man, if you're signing up for this, like, you also got to know that, like, okay, you're part of the show now. Like,
yeah,
this is entertainment.
yeah.
Like, so whatever.
And
Like,
nobody's gonna remember. Like they might remember some of the big moments, but at the end of the day, most people are not gonna care about like
yeah.
some of those infightings and stuff like that. It's
I
just
mean,
bike racing.
I would just wager that like even if someone knows who the lifetime what the lifetime Grand Prix is, I bet if you ask them to name 5 athletes, men and women, I guarantee you they 90% of them can't do that.
Yeah,
And
that's
like that's
that's
a
a fact.
problem. And that's a
Yeah,
problem. Because like
yeah,
if you talk about Drive to Survive, like there are people that are diehard fans of the 18th driver, right?
yeah,
Like I mean, I don't follow it, but I can name probably at least 5 drivers and I don't even follow it. And it's because like the media teams around the race and the organization highlight that and they give people a reason to like them. Like it's like Dylan Johnson, like I mean,
yeah.
people love Dylan Johnson, and it's just because it's a grassroots thing. But like, yeah, I mean, like someone like Toby Road, like that seems like an interesting guy that I could really
I
cheer for.
know.
But I know nothing
Yeah.
about him. I know
Yeah,
nothing about him.
like you have to go out and fish for this information, and
Yeah,
most people are not gonna care that much about cycling to go and look the pink bike and velo whatever. Like they're not gonna care. Like they want a series put in front of them that they can follow and learn about all the athletes in that series.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Good stuff, But yeah, I didn't see too much take, man. There was not a whole lot of stuff.
You know what I saw that was cool?
Yeah.
I forgot which rider it was, but it was the rider that had set up a syringe
Yeah.
of chain lube on his
Yes.
seat tube, and he was lubing his chain throughout the race.
Yeah.
Like that was brilliant.
Oh no.
Aria tried to go look it up, and now he can't find it.
Already.
I know.
I think a lot of people were doing like a bigger tire in the front and a skinnier one in the back.
Yeah, so interesting enough, Cam Jones ran like a 45 like Schwalbe G1 Pro, which is like a semi-slick tire in the front, and then he ran a knobbier tire in the rear.
It was the other.
Yeah, it's like the more like aggressive one. Which
Just
is
a
like,
little more aggressive, yeah.
But like it's so opposite of what every other rider does, which is like, oh, I want traction on the front end, so when I don't wash out on my front, and then let the back drift. And he was the exact opposite. But like, dude, if you go back and look at him on the corners, when he and Simon Pillow would come into like the corners, he was dropping him every single time. Like I think that's what won the race for him, were corners, because he would just rail those corners every time. But it kind of makes sense because, so I looked him up. So he's from Nelson, New Zealand. So that's on the South Island in New Zealand. It's in the very like northern part of the South Island, but it's kind of like looks very much like Caribbean. Like, so tons of sand. I think all the trails up there are very sandy. So like, I bet he was probably pretty good on the loose roads.
I wonder if Carol knows him.
It's probably Carol's cousin.
Every Kiwi knows every Kiwi.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 20 of them down there,
Yeah,
so
right.
they're all probably related too.
Yeah.
No, and then how about the women's XL, huh? Did you guys think of the outcome?
Heather Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
I don't know what the competition really looked like, but
Leo was there.
Yeah, but Leo needs to ride for like 40 days before she starts to.
And also, she just finish that the around the world thing too.
Yeah.
So I was reading that post. She said she had no urgency during the race. Normally she like, zoned in, and she just felt like she didn't really care to optimize any of her stops.
Yeah.
And she just felt like really working hard on the bike was not like the motivation that day.
Dude, I get that.
And she's like, now she has another huge group ride she's doing. She's like, I think I'll take 1 week off, and then I think it's like another multi-day riding.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Graham, you don't have any motivation on the bike,
Yeah, I was wondering if anyone was gonna hear that. Every day I get on the bike, I'm like, I don't really feel like turning my legs over. But
so when I did this group ride with the GOO, one of the checkout rides, we did a few. I went on this GOO ride, and the dudes that were leading the ride just blew up the freaking. So the first 5 miles we all rode together, and they got in there. We did an uphill. I stopped to film, and I got back on my bike, and there's like maybe 20 people behind still trying to come up. I just ran for about 6 miles
on a shakeout ride.
Yeah, and I never caught it. And I was doing like I was flat out for that long, but they just took off. So I got to this section where I was like, well, this is quite the shakeout, right? This is like, I felt bad for the people.
Out of it.
Yeah. So I stopped because I didn't think most of the people had the route. And we got on this T-junction where one guy almost went the wrong way, so I just waited that corner. And when the people in the back came, I'm like, hey, we're going right here and back it down. But they just blew up. I think we averaged like 16 miles an hour for the whole thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah, which, again, is not a big deal, but it was a really hilly, like, shakeout ride.
What were in those GOOs?
I don't know. They were handing those goose out at the start.
You should have had one. Clearly, you didn't.
I
You didn't
should
get the
have.
rocket fuel.
And I just took water because I was like, oh, we're just gonna do,
Yeah,
26
exactly.
miles, easy riding, there's the group. It's like, I think 200 people in a group. So I was like, I'll just, take a couple water bottles, and man, I was out there like praying for carbohydrates. Finally, I give
You're
up.
like looking for honeysuckle on the side of the road, trying to like eat that
Yeah.
out of the.
I was like, I look back, and then it's like we're in this section like 5 miles, just headwind, and everybody's demoralized. I'm like, yeah, this is not a shakeout ride you guys are hoping for.
That's.
But we did other ones with Shimano, which were fantastic. It was a nice, easy pace, 12 miles an hour, and everybody got to enjoy it. Because I think some people are there they want to kind of ride with the pros that are doing those shakeout rides. And then you go 21 miles an hour, most of those people are going to be, they'll never see the group ride.
So that's good. So we bashed Lifetime, we bashed their media coverage, we bashed the racers' tactics and the fact that they didn't race. We have now bashed Goo on their shakeout ride.
It just went too fast.
What other enemies can we make? Like what else pissed you off, Aria? It sounds like it was a great time.
It was a good time. It was just a few things here and there, but other than that, it was great. It was nice meeting all kinds of people, all friends of the channel, people that watch our podcast, people that watch the videos. It was a good time outside of that,
What's the coolest bike that you saw?
Oh, man.
Yeah, like what bike would replace the Trek?
I think that one of those the Thai Lightspeed, the new ones.
Yeah.
That looked good, man. That was
it the Toscano?
Yeah, they had all of their lineups.
Yeah.
So they've beefed up their tire clearance across all their lines.
Yeah.
And they've reworked the what's it called, the crown, so that you can use suspension fork. Now they've reworked the crown on all their bikes, so you can do that. So I thought that's cool. Yeah, the head tube. Yeah. So they've reworked that. It looks nice. They had a couple bikes that had forks on them, so those looked like this is a good looking bike here.
Pretty sweet.
And it's Thai.
Yeah, they're doing some cool stuff with their anode. If you're interested, I know the guys over there, so just.
No, there was another company out of New York City. Number 22.
Oh, number 22. Those bikes are sick, dude.
Those bikes, actually, I take it back. Not Lightspeed, number 22.
That's the bike I was going to pull up there. I don't know if your computer will overheat or not, but if you can pull up number 22's, they're making an Aero. Yeah, all right, never mind, Aria. They're making an Aero gravel bike, titanium bike.
I think I saw one.
Thick tubes, like deep head tube. It looks so good. Like it is so cool.
Let's see. All-road endurance. Let's look at the gravel. I mean, the pictures don't do it justice. The stem is
cool stuff. Yeah.
Their stem is machined titanium in-house. Seat post machined titanium in-house. Whatever it's called, it's not paint. The Cerakote, whatever. It just looks absolutely stunning. I mean, these here are not even like close. Like this doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, look up the Reactor Aero. That's their bike. Their
Reactor Aero.
It's by number 22. It is quite possibly one of the sickest bikes I've seen.
Yeah, the builds they had there were just absolutely. Oh yeah, look at that! Holy God!
Yeah, look at that thing.
Holy moly! What's that thing that's sticking out on the bottom there?
It's that Aero derailleur like pulley cage thing. So it's.
So your pulley is inside that, or is it a cover?
Yeah, it's a cover. Yeah. And
you got your aero chain ring.
Mm-hmm.
So is this a road bike or is it a?
Yeah, I think it's a road bike.
Yeah, that thing is a beauty.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah, so I think to me that was definitely was I was impressed by their craftsmanship on those bikes. It was pretty cool.
You got the tie bug. That's what I read. I read a Linsky. It's my road bike.
Yeah. So Lightspeed, Orbit, and what's the other company that's under that umbrella?
Quintana
You said
Quintana Roo.
Okay.
So they
I didn't realize all those three were the same.
Yeah. They do tri bikes and they make some pretty cool aero road bikes too. But yeah, they're all carbon. So
Yeah, no, I definitely. If somebody told me, "Hey, here's a budget, go get your dream bike," I'll go right. I'll drive right now tonight to New York City, and wait for number 22 to make my tie bike custom. And they had like crazy clearance. You could put a mountain bike tire on it, which I felt like tire bikes were not doing that for the longest time. So
yeah,
good to see that you can buy a bike that's gonna really take you wherever you want. Right in Jason's range.
Silk is doing a lot of work with tie companies right now because they're doing a lot of 3D printing of titanium. So for like the dropouts and the yokes on the stays, they're allowing them to 3D print them, and so that enables them to like really make that wide tire clearance a little bit more. So it's kind of cool. I don't know if they're even marketing that, but I know that some of the tie companies here in Chattanooga are working with them.
I feel like I saw there's a company, I forget it now, but I saw it. The 3D printing titanium frames.
Oh, I think that's what that
with
number 22.
Like these weird hole, like some kind of weird structure.
Yeah, I think
it's not like a tube.
That number 22, that bike that Aria just had up, I'm pretty sure that there's some 3D printing technology going into that, and it's like modular. And
their stem was.
You know what's a really cool material to make frames out of? Wood.
Steel?
Bamboo.
No, wood. Bamboo's all right, but you got to laminate bamboo together.
Yeah, that's true.
Or you get like a piece of actual
2x4 and then get that hollowed out.
Oak, redwood, maple.
Cherry be good. It's pretty hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like my bikes carbon and printed and bad for the environment.
And titanium too. Titanium I like
too. Yeah.
I rode with a guy in Delaware who pulled up on a group ride with a wooden bike. I'm like, check that out, you know. I was asking him
wooden bikes.
I was asking him how he did it. And he's like, I've been making custom wooden bike frames for like 30 years.
Oh, there we go. I don't know, man. What do they do for the bottom bracket? Do they reinforce it or something?
You epoxy press, whatever kind of bottom bracket sleeve you want in there. Same with the head tube. And you mill the wood around like the dropouts, and like Paragon makes dropouts for them. I think it's Paragon.
It's a pretty looking bike. I wish it was disc brake.
I know, right?
Disc brake.
Very interesting.
What's the name of that place?
This one is Materia or something like that.
Yeah,
Materia Bikes. Interesting.
Cool website.
There's a Gasta something or other in Europe I've been watching on Instagram. He makes some nice stuff.
Yes, I think I've seen that guy in Europe, right? Yeah, I think I've seen he's been making bikes like that for a long time.
Hey, y'all. I'm about to die here, so I'm going to hop off. But good talking to you this week. Sorry. It's I'm at 1%, so I think I'm going to die, and I don't have a
1%. Look at that.
He's the 1%.
I am.
That's right.
The bottom 1%. So, hey, well, glad you had fun at Unbound Recap. I'll catch you guys later.
We won't bash Unbound last time anymore.
Maybe we'll get viral off of this because we've just called out just about everybody.
Yeah.
All right, I'll catch y'all later. See ya.
See ya.
All right. Yeah, no, it's quite interesting. Yeah, but we'll see. So, let's see.
I think that's funny. You're getting called out by the Lifetime guy. They don't know who they're messing with.
I was like, dude, I'm all for following the rules, man. But it's like, I feel like this is a fight that we don't need to have. You know what I mean?
You're like, I got followers. I can have like
You know,
200 or 300 people down here like tomorrow.
yeah, I'm like, we're gonna send the reinforcements coming.
Protest you.
Speaking of which, Gravel Worlds, we're gonna have a code for our listeners and viewers for the Gravel Worlds this year. So we'll be on the lookout on that. I need to get that, and I'll probably in the next podcast we'll put in the show notes so that people can that want to go to Gravel Worlds. Have you done Gravel Worlds?
Yeah, I did it that one year.
Right, I feel like you went out there. Huh?
20. Was it
21?
before or after COVID?
I'm a guess. I want to say it was probably before COVID. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I guess it would have had to have been because, or maybe it was that 2022 season, right before I moved.
Yeah, is it because we gone right to? I'm trying to remember. It might have been before. If it was anything before, I would have had you in my videos because I did one for 22.
No, I remember I was looking for you at the start.
Oh,
but it was dark, and you were like way in the back.
Yeah, that's all right. I start in the back and see how many people I can pass. But we're gonna go back this year and we're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
We'll try to do Core 4 also, but so Core 4 will be the weekend before Gravel Worlds.
Yeah.
So it's going to be back to back. So we're going to have to be doing a lot of the relearned recovery stuff. So, and the olive oil and stay on top.
Have you been eating your olive oil, drinking your olive oil?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So what I end up doing, I haven't cooked with it. I've used it.
Oh, I have.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
I haven't cooked with it. I did put it on, like Ivan makes some homemade Asiago bread. So I had with that, I like to dip a little bit of that in the bread, and a little bit of the burrata cheese as a snack or something. So I feel like I test the flavor that way best. I feel like once I mix it into my sardines or something, it's not going to be so tasty.
I've been doing a little bit of cooking with it, and I haven't really noticed.
Yeah.
Like I've been cooking eggs with it and some vegetables and stuff, and haven't really noticed anything taste-wise.
I think taste-wise, if you're cooking with it, you probably won't notice much.
Yeah.
But I've been doing the capsules. Oh, there we go.
I'm the only one that's not overheating.
I know.
It's because my basement's nice and cold.
Only you, No, it's my fault. I charged the batteries too close to the podcast, and then the ambient temperature was a little bit high, and hence the overheating. So
I think I want to start building wooden bikes. I think that might be what I should start doing.
You should do it, man. You should do it. Yeah, we probably should wrap up. You know. All right. Well, that was a quick one. Hopefully, Lifetime allows me in their future, events. They're probably like, they're gonna probably blackball me from now on. Never.
Banned.
See, because they ask you for the team name. I put Iowa Grub Gang denied every time.
Banned.
Would have been cool to do even the 100 or the 200, and I did put in my name, but they're like, which I thought in past years, I thought that if you've done any one of their, like the 200 or whatever, they can easily get in. But it sounds to me like they don't care about it.
Not anymore. There's so many people that want to do it.
Yeah.
Like 5,000 people were riding. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, the attendance is super high, so.
I would love it to do it, but man, I don't know. I guess the lottery would be tough.
Yeah.
Well, so if it's a lottery, I mean, I guess I'll get it.
Yeah, and I think the 200 is easier to get into than the 100 or the other distances because there's just, I think for the 100, I think it was like 1,200 people, something like that.
Yeah.
Crazy numbers. So the 200, I think, was also very high.
I bet
then
you
you
get
have-
into the 350 real easy.
Yeah. I don't know. Do they have a requirement for that also? You have to have done like accomplished some epic riding to get into the 350, I feel like.
I did Tour Divide.
Oh, you could, yeah. Me, I don't have the. Oh, that's right. Bike Friday. Yeah, Zoran is in the chat. There's the Bike Library has a party. The Beats and something this weekend.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
So, yeah, we're getting ready to go to. We have the gravel race in Pine Island. Pine Island gravel race or something.
Yeah.
So we probably. I don't know that we'll have enough time to attend the Beats and something. I'm trying to see if I could show. Yeah, I don't see it.
I got Derek and Amy coming out.
Oh, that's
next
right.
week in the camp.
Yeah,
Do
bikes
some
and
riding
bits.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, people. We are gonna wrap this up before I overhead. I'm responding to chats here.
Yeah, good talking to everybody.
Yeah.
Likes.
Thanks for
and
joining us
subscribe.
in the chat. Yeah. Good stuff.
I'm hoping some people start asking us questions.
I know people need to peace, Zoran. Yeah, we need questions asked, for sure.
That's cool that Zoran checks it out. That's really cool.
Yeah.